Welcome into Start, Sit, Different Day. Yes, I'm hosting this week. No Josh, no Faith, but we do have three amazing gentlemen joining me this morning. We have Axton Harding, Michael Sicoli, Austin Amandolia. It is a beautiful lineup of people. I just realized, I heard a reverb in my head. Didn't realize I had the YouTube stream pulled up on the other side, and I was talking in my ear. It was very confusing. I apologize for that. Let's get into Start, Sit, Different Day. Well, let me tell you guys how confused I was when I heard my voice a second time in my head. We're okay now. The YouTube stream is muted. I have it up to make sure it's running well. Gentlemen, how are we?
We're good. We're good. I'm good, at least. Honestly, I thought you were hesitating when you said we have beautiful guests. And I was like, I don't know. I thought, maybe not as beautiful. I thought that's what the hesitation was, but happy to be here for sure.
I heard the voice of God talking to me through my headphones, and I was very confused. So, Austin, Axton, gentlemen, how are we?
Yeah, doing great. Glad to be here on a Saturday. That little intro is quite the bop. I could listen to that a time or two.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's one of my more favorite intros I've created for Club Fantasy. Yeah, like the little. I'm a big gamer, so that's where I got the idea from. All right, gentlemen. As we wait for these questions to pile in, for those who are new, Starts a Different Day. Comes from the saying "same shit, different day." So we just like to do Start Sit on a different day because everyone's flooding you on Sunday morning. Let us flood you on Saturday morning because we want to get ahead of the curve. And with being ahead of the curve, we have a weird amount of injuries this week. We're back to what we like to call an ass load of injuries here. So quarterback, Zach Wilson, Dak Prescott, both out. Zach Wilson should be back in week 4. So I don't know, fire him up. I don't really know what to tell you in that instance. Justin Herbert, Jameis Winston, both questionable. As far as I know, they're both on track. Does anybody know any differently?
I don't think Justin Herbert's suiting up. And the reason I'm basing that off of is the Vegas line. It was at -7.5, -7 around yesterday. And then midday, they dropped that 4 points. They slid that all the way down to 3. And I tend to back Vegas. They know what they're doing. So I'm taking that as a sign that they don't think Herbert's suiting up.
That's very fair. Yeah, that's a major line drop at that point. Yeah. At the running back position, all questionable. DeAndre Swift, Leonard Fournette, Josh Jacobs, Alvin Kamara, James Conner, J.K. Dobbins. Top 3 guys all played last week. Bottom 3 guys did not play last week. So I feel like we're on the assumption Swift, Fournette, and Jacobs probably play. They're just being cautious in practice with their injuries. Just listing them as questionable. Kamara, Connor, Dobbins, whole different story. Dobbins probably being the furthest away from actually suiting up and playing real football. Wide receivers, 4 out. Godwin, Sammy Watkins, Hunter Renfrow, Rondale Moore. 2 names you're probably going to put in your lineup, Godwin and Renfrow. Those guys are out. You're going to have to find replacements for them. Doubtful, Kyle Phillips. You know that one dude, that one analyst, that one tweet was talking about for the Bills? That guy, he's doubtful. You're not starting him. Keenan Allen, Gabe Davis, Allen Lazard, Rashad Perryman, Jerry Jeudy, Russell Gage, Jacoby Myers, Christian Watson, Julio Jones, Corey Davis, Kadarius Toney, Randall Cobb, KJ Hamler, Wan'Dale Robinson. They're all questionable. So I'm not going to go through those names again, but keep up with the injury report. Obviously, there's some names in there. Jacoby Myers, Gabe Davis, Keenan Allen. Deeper leagues, Randall Cobb might be a start this week. Those guys, keep an eye on them. Just don't start an injured player, please. Just keep on top of it. Check it at the last second until you can. Just make sure you have a backup plan if so. Van Jefferson and Mike Evans also out. Mike Evans not injured. He just decided to throw fisticuffs at Marshawn Lattimore for a good reason, but he got suspended, so he will no longer be joining the team this week on the field. Tight end, Ryan Griffin, Brevin Jordan, both out. Brevin Jordan suspended 3 games. I saw it for something.
Is Brevin Jordan suspended?
Is he suspended? Who's the
I
tight
think
end?
he's hurt. Brevin Jordan has an ankle injury. I know he's nursing.
Who is the tight end that got suspended? I saw there was a tight end that got suspended the other day, and I could have sworn it was Brevin Jordan. I could be wrong, but
tight end Bryson Hopkins.
Bryson Hopkins. Yes, Bryson Hopkins. That he was the 2nd, 3rd round pick for the Rams a couple years ago. So you're not starting Bryson Hopkins. I don't know why I missed him up with Brevin Jordan. My apologies. Other questionables: TJ Hawkinson, Dawson Knox, Hayden Hurst. I hate that we have Taysom Hill listed as a tight end. Dalton Schultz, Isaiah Likely, CJ Uzama. Some decent names again. Just keep an eye on. The ones you're probably going to start, guys like Schultz, Knox. I mean, Hurst is creeping into lineups now too. All of them played last week. All of them should be good to go. So we're chilling there. And kicker, Harrison Butker, out. Ryan likes to add kickers in here just to make Josh mad, but Harrison Butker is out. So Matt Amendola will continue the kicking duties for Kansas City this week. There are millions of other kickers better than Matt Amendola, so please do not start Matt Amendola. If you are down to the wire with Matt Amendola, I'm sorry, but there are better kickers out there. All right, gents, now that all the sad stuff's done, let's get into the happy stuff. And we'll start with Mick Sweet, who is one of our lovely listeners every single week. So his thoughts on Kyle Pitts this week. Atlanta goes into Seattle. They stay on the West Coast after just playing the Rams, so they probably didn't travel back home. Didn't have to worry about kind of that jet lag. I will go around from top left all the way to bottom right. So, Austin, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on Kyle Pitts this week?
I mean, I know the first 2 weeks have been awful, but I'm giving him a 3rd chance because it's Kyle Pitts. He's too good. And if the Falcons don't start utilizing him more, then please fire Arthur Smith next week. Like, just do it. He's the number 1, number 2 pass catcher on the offense. He needs to get utilized. And I think he's going to bounce back this week. We'll see some positive regression for him the rest of the season. 2 catches a game just doesn't feel sustainable for Pitts.
Okay. Axton.
I tend to agree. I mean, at this point, it's kind of only uphill from here, unless you have a similar or not as similar. If you have a decent replacement option, would be opposed to putting him in timeout this week, kind of making him really prove that him and the offense both prove that he's going to be more involved here moving forward. But I think it's safe to say you could probably roll him out one more week before you hop out on him.
Michael.
Yeah, I'll stick the course. I'll happily ride out with Kyle Pitts until that play comes. I was reading an ESPN story because, like everyone, I was confused about the usage. So a source apparently told ESPN that 13 of Atlanta's passing plays were meant for Pitts last week, and Mariota threw the ball 26 times. It's 50%. I think they're trying to get him the ball. I'm not actually blaming Arthur Smith as much. I think Mariota's just not looking at him. But Kyle Pitts is one of those rare guys that he can make it on one play, which you don't say for tight end too often, but I'm willing to give him another week.
He has a good matchup this week. He won't see Jamal Adams. Quandre Diggs doesn't exactly scare me in coverage, more so as a roaming safety, not as a man-to-man guy. So that secondary Seattle is garbage. He should have, bearing, knock on wood, he should have a touchdown this week. I don't think the game is particularly high scoring, but Atlanta's offense has not looked bad under Marcus Mariota. So let's get that straight. They've not looked bad. They haven't looked like over the moon, but they haven't looked bad. So they're going to be effective, and I think this is probably the first week Pitts finds his way into the end zone, or at least is productive enough to be that 3rd round or 4th round pick you probably took him with, because obviously panic button right now, you took him pretty high. Don't panic just yet. He has a good matchup this week. Okay, we are going to go down to Czar. This is the first time I've ever seen this, my friend in here right now. Czar with a wave. I don't know what the icon is. I normally try and pick on people's icons that are new here, and we'll see that with Mr. Scampers next because I love Mr. Scampers. But start Antonio Gibson or A.J. Dillon this week. Austin.
I think I'm going to go... I don't like either of these, honestly. I mean, I would go Antonio Gibson because I think he has the higher upside of these two. My concern with AJ Dillon is Tampa Bay traditionally has a really good run defense, and so I don't really want a piece of that backfield. The issue is that the Philadelphia Eagles offense looks like no joke. And so I do worry about Washington getting down early and Antonio Gibson getting game scripted out. So honestly, I would go somewhere else if I could, but if I have to pick between those two, I'll still go with Gibson. So I think he has the higher touchdown upside.
Axton.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Gibson on this one. I just think that, again, like Austin was saying, the upside is more so there with Gibson than Dillon. He's going to be used quite a bit more, in my opinion. I know they both actually have, fairly tough matchups. So definitely going Gibson, I think. No ifs, ands, or buts on this one for me.
Okay. Michael.
Yeah, the second time in a row, I'll stick with Gibson as well. I don't like the Tampa matchup. I will note that Akeem Hicks is out. He's now going to miss substantial time. That's a good run-stuffing player for the Bucs that they had this offseason. So that, I don't know, maybe they're a little bit less effective, but Todd Bowles is too good of a coach for that to be too much of a downgrade. So I'll ride with Gibson.
Gibson, Devin White's playing the best football he's played in like 3 years. Yeah. You're not, yeah. And he also has receiving upside, especially if this is PPR, then Antonio Gibson is way more valuable than AJ Dillon. If you're in standard, you might play Dillon hoping that Green Bay falls across the goal line on the 1 yard line. You're playing Antonio Gibson. I agree with Austin. If you can find, there may be someone on the waiver wire. I have no idea. But if you can find someone there that could potentially replace one of these guys, don't drop either one of them. If you have a guy that you can drop, maybe pick one up. Because honestly, I think the ceiling for Dillon this week is 2.5 points, and I think Gibson's ceiling is 6. So you're not getting a lot out of these guys. So even someone that could potentially hit a home run for you, that might be the guy to go with. And Faith's mad, so hello, Faith. Sorry I ignored your greeting. Go back to work. Mr. Stampers, my friend, the cat. Good morning. He chimes in. Bryson Hopkins was the guy. I'm mistaken. I apologize. Hello, Miss Wendy. We're going to get to you, my friend. Lazard or Jahan Dotson. So Green Bay goes into Tampa. The Commanders come home to play the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles. Austin, who are you going with?
I think I'm going to go with Dotson on this one, and I don't really love it because I don't know what to make of the Packers offense right now, and Tampa Bay's been playing really good defense. And with Washington, Terry McLaurin's probably going to draw the Darius Slay shadow throughout the game, and so that's going to open up Curtis Samuel and Jahan Dotson to potentially make big plays, assuming that Carson Wentz, unlike Kirk Cousins, can look at a different receiver than his number one.
Axton?
I think I'd just like to see Jahan Dotson get a little more usage in the open field. He's been pretty touchdown dependent lately. So with Sammy Watkins out for the Packers, I think that Lazard is just going to get, to what extent, I don't know, but he's going to get the higher volume. I just think that there just could be plenty more opportunity for him to make something happen this week. So I'm going Lazard.
Michael?
I'm also going to go Lazard. I think there's a better chance of him finding the end zone I think it's an exploitable Tampa secondary. And Jahan Dotson, I like Jahan Dotson, but 10 targets through 2 weeks, will face up against James Bradbury, potentially. It's not just Darius Slay. That is a legitimate secondary in Philadelphia. So I'll also ride with Lazard like Axton.
I'm so against every Packer this week. It's Jahan Dotson for me. I don't think Green Bay scores a touchdown. The last time they played in Tampa Bay, they had 100 total yards of offense. Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks and was sacked 4 or 5 times. Tampa's defense has looked ridiculous. I personally just don't like any Green Bay Packer this week. So I will go with Dotson. I don't like Dotson this week. Not because James Bradbury. I think Bradbury is a bad cornerback, and I think he gets overhyped incredibly. He gets overhyped. He's 100% overhyped. 100%.
Since the amazing year on the Giants, for sure. But he's opened the season pretty well. He's played pretty well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's nice when a tipped interception falls right into your hands. You can run it back for a touchdown. It's great. It's also nice when Darius Slay's on the other side doing freaking work. James Bradbury's overrated. Jahan Dotson, he might see Bradbury. Jahan Dotson is an absolute lightning bolt of a player with how fast he is. So I also think he has just a higher touchdown upside. I agree with you. Tampa Bay secondary sucks. Across the board, their secondary is terrible. Their pass rush is just so good. And that's the part that's going to get to Aaron Rodgers before Allen Lazard, I think, can get open. So, and not to discount the Eagles pass rush, the Eagles defense, but there's more weapons to me that they have to worry about for the Commanders than Tampa Bay has to worry about for the Packers. So I would go with Dotson. Our buddy Gabe. His tight ends are Hunter Henry and Irv Smith. Not the best, but his receivers are Justin Jefferson, Gabe Davis, T. Higgins, Amari Cooper, Chris Olave, and he has Jameson Williams on his IR. He was offered Mark Andrews for Gabe Davis and T. Higgins. Is that a yay or a nay, Austin?
So I typically go the strategy of getting an elite tight end, but with this situation, I actually would probably just hold where I'm at. Irv Smith looked pretty good last week, and he was a drop pass away from a huge day for a tight end. And to me, Gabe Davis and T. Higgins, they have wide receiver one upside on any given week. And so I think I would continue to ride with Hunter Henry and Irv Smith because they're two tight ends that I think are likely to get you touchdowns. And Mark Andrews, like, he obviously number one, number two tight end on any given week, but we're starting to see them use more two tight end sets. And that does make me nervous for Mark Andrews' upside as Isaiah likely gets more attention.
Axton.
I think in this case, if you're going to give up Davis and Higgins, you're probably spreading yourself pretty thin at the wide receiver position. I think I'm with Austin here, where I just kind of hold out and just hope for better days with Minnesota. They're definitely going to have some better games ahead of them. And it's encouraging to see that even in what was a rough week last week, that Irv Smith was still getting involved. So I think it's a hold for me.
Michael.
I'm also going to hold. As much as I completely echo what Austin said about I'd love to get my elite tight end, but I'm not gonna give up a guy like T. Higgins and Gabe Davis to do it. I think you can cut Hunter Henry, to be honest. I don't know. I want nothing to do with this Patriots offense. No offense, Joe. But I mean, there's guys on the wire. Yeah, there's guys on the wire that you could stream. You know, my guy, Jawan Johnson has been putting up work the last couple of weeks. He's 8 points, and then you balance it out with T. Higgins and Gabe Davis. So I'd hold.
Yeah, I dropped Hunter Henry for Hayden Hurst in one of my leagues. So yeah, I think you're fine holding to Irv Smith. You can drop Hunter Henry right now. Remember, Hunter Henry started the season off super slow last year and started turning on later in the year. So if that does become a thing, he's probably going to be on the waiver wire. Especially for this week, I do not like Mark Andrews this week against the Patriots. So don't trade for him this week. You're giving up too much. I'm not even a big Gabe Davis fan, but I mean, even T. Higgins straight up, that's kind of tough for me. I'm one where I think you can get 8 or 9 points out of a streaming tight end, and I'd rather take T. Higgins, who has the ridiculous upside of 30 points one week, and his floor is like 10. So yeah, I'm a guy that literally waits till one of the last rounds to pick a tight end. So I will err on the side of Davis and Higgins. Do not make that trade, Sir Gabe. Okay. Mr. Scampers and a half peeper. A.J. Dillon, Curtis Samuel, Juju Smith-Schuster, Adam Thielen. Curtis Samuel plays the Eagles. Obviously, we talked about that. The Kansas City Chiefs go into Indianapolis. Adam Thielen and the Vikings go home to play the Detroit Lions. Austin, who are you riding with?
I think I'm going, and are we picking 2, picking 1?
One.
Picking 1. Oof. That makes it a little tougher for me. I would probably go with Curtis Samuel because he's just had so many touches through the first couple of weeks. And again, like we're talking about with these 2 outside corners for Philadelphia, Curtis Samuel lines up a lot in the slot and they move him around a lot. And so he's going to be moving away from the Darius Slay and James Bradbury. And so he can be a good target for Washington throughout the game. So I'd go with Curtis Samuel. My next option would be Adam Thielen, just for the touchdown upside against Detroit secondary. That doesn't scare me.
Okay. Axton.
I'm going Curtis Samuel as well. I do believe Juju will make a bounce back game. I don't think that his last couple of weeks is be representative of the rest of the year. But that said, I would, in this case, most likely put him again in timeout and kind of make him prove that to me again this week. Curtis Samuel's just had tons of volume, tons of usage, and he's just being too heavily relied on in this offense not to pick him here, in my opinion.
Michael?
I want more than anything to say Juju right now, but because I agree, I think he has a bounce back, and I like that matchup with the Colts. I think he can work well against the Colts, but he's being used too close to the line of scrimmage yet again, as he did last week. And as for Thielen, every single one of his catches came in the fourth. So I'll also rock with Curtis Samuel. Just their game, it's the touches he's getting are so valuable because they're meant for him, and he's just a good fit in an offense that just same as he was in Carolina.
So I hate to break it to you guys, but Juju Smith-Schuster is playing against Kenny Moore. I hate to break it to you guys.
I know.
Yeah. Did Christian Kirk have a good week last week? Yes. Does Christian Kirk move way more and is way faster than Juju Smith-Schuster? Also, yes. Can Indianapolis play in the state of Florida? Hard no. They literally can't play in Jacksonville. Juju will have a bum week because he's a bum player. Sorry, Michael. I said midway through last season he should just retire and become a TikTok star. He'll make way more money and his brain won't get injured any further. It'll just get dumber because he'll be on TikTok all the time, but it won't get injured any further. Adam Thielen is my guy this week. I think Juju's terrible. He's not good. He cannot play unless there's a good receiver next to him. And I'm sorry, skill-wise, dude might be the best receiver on the team, and that is not saying a lot. That is not saying a lot.
So I think that he's a genuinely good player that is being scripted touches that are just five. Like I don't even know if he's making it 5 yards downfield. Like
you want to know why? Because he can't.
Oh,
he physically
because
can't.
We've seen it.
Because Patrick Mahomes is picking apart defenses playing too high on him. It's just the nature of the game for them right now.
No, Juju sucks. I mean, both things can be true, but Juju sucks. He's not good. He's not good.
You know what? You know what's really good for getting lots of receptions 5 yards down the field? PPR scoring.
That's why I didn't strongly consider it. Yeah,
this is a half PPR.
Question.
So it's only half as good in this situation when you think about it. All right. For the record, I'm okay with Curtis Samuel too. I think Thielen against the Lions division matchup. There's no way Minnesota looks like they did last week. Detroit's defense just is not that good. So Minnesota's going to have to throw to stay in that game if they put a lot of attention on JJ. Thielen, obviously, has played well against the Lions in his career as well. Anthony, this is a big question. Henry, 28 years old, 250-pound running back, hasn't looked himself since coming back from a serious injury. Does he still belong among the elite conversation at the running back position, Austin?
I mean, I'm going to say yes because it's Derrick Henry, and similar to Kyle Pitts opening the show, I'm going to give him 3 weeks, and because of the resume there, I might give him 4 or 5 weeks before I'm like, okay, moving off of this, because there hasn't been any running back that's really been that dominant between the first 2 weeks of the season. I know it's been thrown out a lot, but Field Yates tweeting out that no running back has scored more than 17 points in both weeks 1 and 2. Like, nobody's doing it. So
I'd like to add that DeAndre Swift scored 16.9. So Field Yates a little deceiving with that stat.
It is fair. Yeah. Very much cherry picking that threshold, that cutoff.
Yeah.
It's like when you're like, oh, he's a top 4 play this week. It's like, okay, yeah, because he was 4th. Like, not
again, for reference, 17 points for a running back. I mean, that's 90 yards, a touchdown, and 2 catches. That's a lot. Like 17 points for a running back. That, like, again, you're expecting that from your high end guys, but like, that's still a lot of points every week. But regardless,
it is. Continue. But it is also what we expect from Derrick Henry at this point too. So I'll give him a 3rd week. I think that one thing I like about his matchup this week too is the spread is fairly low, so they'll be in neutral game script more often and be able to actually run their offense, which is Derrick Henry. Whereas they were out of that game against the Bills, like, I don't know, half of the first quarter in because they just never stood a chance. So he got game scripted out.
It's generous you gave them a half a quarter. I gave them until when the matchup was released back in April. So, Axton.
Yeah, I'm on the opinion that Derrick Henry does still belong in the top end of running backs in the league. I think with Bills matchup last week was pretty unfavorable for the offense as a whole. Naturally, they were going to be playing from behind. So, again, comes down to game script. Even with a team that relies heavily on Derrick Henry, wasn't able to use him as much as they would have liked to last week. He still did score a touchdown, and if he had done so against the Giants in week 1, you wouldn't have been as upset about his performance with 82 yards. So I still do believe that he belongs up there in the higher end of running backs in the league, and I think that, again, I'll give him another week, so I think he's got better days ahead of him.
Michael.
He's done. He's done. Listen,
You go and grab that
sorry.
T-shirt for this reason.
Yes, I'm sorry for wheeling.
Respect.
I'm sorry for wheeling around Austin, but I saw it. I thought of it, and I was like, I had to because, listen, he doesn't look right, and I'm not overreacting to the Bills one, but he didn't break a tackle in that game. My biggest worry is what Axton said before, is that if he gets a touchdown, you're happy with it. I don't think the Titans are going to get many touchdowns this year. I think this is a bad football team. And maybe they're just starting slow, but it's a bad team. It's a bad defense with a bad offense. And unless Treylon Burks is going to carry them on their back downfield, which they don't seem to let him do, he's not going to score. He's not going to catch passes. He's going to be an RB2 based on volume for me. It's dynasty. It's you better have sold.
Kansas City, Denver, Green Bay, Cincinnati, Philadelphia. Those are 5 games in a row they will not have a lead in because their defense blows and because their offense can't produce down the field. So, essentially, he's going to get scripted out. They have the Raiders this week. They should have a fairly solid time still running the football. Indy, fucking coin flip of a team. We have no idea what Indianapolis we're going to get. They see them 2 times in the next 4 weeks. Commanders, solid football team, and they have them in Washington. The Texans, again, in division, that's always a coin flip for me, Houston and Tennessee. But, I mean, later in the year, championship week, in the playoffs, he sees the Chargers and the Cowboys. You're not playing from ahead in those games. You're not. You're simply not playing ahead against those teams. Dak Prescott will be back fully healthy with like 6 weeks under his belt. Justin Herbert obviously will be back by that point. The only time you're going to play him at that point is the Texans in the semis, if you even make it that far. I'm not saying he's done, but he has definitely dropped to like mid-tier 2 at this point because he cannot produce, and he is so one-dimensional. He is extremely one-dimensional. And that's the part that really hurts him in fantasy football is if Tennessee is not winning, he is irrelevant. He's just irrelevant, which is the part that sucks. But rest of the season, I'd say over half of his matchups, he's not going to be utilized at all. And for 5 straight weeks, that's rough. That's rough. He's going to have a tough time. So split, again, I'm not willing to say done because it is Derrick Henry. He does play well, but again, does not look the same. I am leaning more towards done than I am elite. McSweet, 3 at the flex. Here's our first big one. A-Rob, Darrell Henderson, Michael Carter, Travis Etienne, Jerry Jeudy, Tyler Boyd. The Rams are playing the Cardinals this week, so A-Rob, D. Henderson have the Cardinals. Michael Carter is at home against the Bengals. Etienne goes across the country to the Chargers. Jeudy, Sunday Night Football at home against the 49ers, and Tyler Boyd, aforementioned Jets. He will be in New Jersey, just outside of the Big Apple, because they're liars. So, Austin, pick 3. Who are you rolling with? And McSweet says it is a PPR.
Okay, that is helpful. If I'm going to pick 3, I'm going to start with Allen Robinson because Arizona's defense has looked awful, particularly their secondary. I'm going to go with Michael Carter and Jerry Jeudy, assuming he plays. If Jerry Jeudy doesn't play, I'd probably go Tyler Boyd because I don't like playing two players from the same team. Like if Darrell Henderson scores a touchdown, that's one less touchdown for Allen Robinson, vice versa. And I'm waiting to see it from Travis Etienne. James Robinson still seems to have a hold of that backfield. So A-Rob, Michael Carter, Jerry Jeudy. If he sits, then Tyler Boyd.
Axton.
Oh, I tend to agree for the most part. I'd go A-Rob for sure. Again, if Jeudy plays, I'm starting him. But if Jeudy doesn't play, I don't mind going Darrell Henderson. I just think I think he can come in the end zone, and what you alluded to with the fact that would be one less for A-Rob. I just think A-Rob's still gonna get used and can soak up those PPR points and give you a safer floor, more so maybe than Boyd, in my opinion, anyways. So off the top, I'd probably go A-Rob, Carter, Jeudy, and Jeudy doesn't play. I don't mind putting Darrell Henderson in there.
Michael.
I'll line up the dual Rams and A-Rob and Darrell Henderson, and I'll play Michael Carter as much as I want Breece Hall to get the work. He's not yet. I don't think Jeudy plays right now, and if he does, he could be on a snap count. Didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday, got back on the field Friday. So I don't know, and I gotta wait for Etienne to prove it to me. Also, on a side note, on a breaking news note, Micah Hyde was just safety for the Bills, was just placed on IR. His season is now over.
Oh,
yeah.
Shoot.
rip.
Not to bring down the mood, but that is just that's terrible. But,
That hurts the Bills.
yeah.
Bills, Tua will still suck against them this week, so we're totally fine. Everything's okay in the land of Tua for him being bad this week. So I'm excited. My three: Robinson, Boyd, and Etienne. I said it on Wednesday's show that I think Etienne is used more because I think Jacksonville plays from behind this whole game. And that's the only reason I'm saying Etienne. Etienne is very clearly the pass-catching back that they want to spread out or utilize over James Robinson. If they were playing ahead, I would say Etienne is irrelevant in this game. But despite Justin Herbert potentially not playing, Chase Daniel is not exactly a slouch as a backup quarterback, and he can still throw the football effectively. So, and also, literally no tape on him. Literally no film study on Chase Daniel, unless you want to look back at like 2009. Like there's no film study on Chase Daniel for the Jaguars to even remotely prepare for. They're going across the country too. I don't like teams going across the country to ever win a game, but I do like when a running back could get dumped the ball 8 or 9 times and make those catches. That is the only reason I'm saying Etienne. In any other situation, I'm benching him. A-Rob's the only real constant here for me. I've had Josh and Ryan in my ears saying that Breece Hall's this is the week for him, so I'm just avoiding Michael Carter just by principle of that. I have no idea. I have Cortland Sutton over Jerry Jeudy in every conversation. I am like Axton and Austin. I don't like starting 2 players on the same team. That one kind of hurts me a little bit. So that's why I'm riding with Tyler Boyd. I think Boyd finds the end zone. I'm sorry, the Jets don't look bad. They're going to have to throw the football to stay in that game. Is Cincinnati, and Boyd is probably going to be one of the guys that they're going to look to in the slot. So, yeah, you have a lot of solid options to say the least, McSweet. All right, Trey, drop Tyler Boyd or James Cook to start Kirk Cousins over Russell Wilson this week. Okay, so the first thing that we will answer here, if he's dropping, we're all dropping James Cook, correct? Like
Yes.
that's an aggressive nod.
Yes, it
North
is
and
a
south?
very aggressive nod.
Okay, aggressive nod north and south. Now the question is, are we starting Kirk Cousins over Russell Wilson? Trey.
So I think I would.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason I would is because Minnesota, they have like a 29 point implied point total this week based on the betting lines. So there's 4 potential touchdowns out there to be had, and Kirk Cousins could throw 3 of those easily against Detroit. You could have 2 to Justin Jefferson, 1 to Adam Thielen, 1 to each of them, and then 1 to Irv Smith. Like there are a lot of touchdowns to be had in this game. Comparatively, the Broncos have like a 22 point implied point total. So there's 3 touchdowns out there, and they run the ball a lot, and this offense looks bad. And they can barely get the ball snapped off in time. Like, I am afraid of this offense right now, unless you're Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy and Javonte Williams. But like Russell Wilson, like, does not need to succeed in fantasy football for the Broncos to win. Clearly, that's what's happened so far through 2 weeks. So I would go with Kirk Cousins this week. And spoiler for my DFS article that drops later today, I have him as a cash play this weekend as well.
Okay, Axton.
He pretty well hit the nail on the head there. For me, I'm going Cousins over Russell this week. I just think, especially if Jerry Jeudy's not playing, Russell's going to have a little more trouble getting the ball around and getting effective plays made. Anyways, so I think there's just too much upside with Cousins this week. Yeah, the Eagles are quite a bit tougher, but I just think that the wide receiving core is too talented out there for them not to make some noise this week.
Okay. Michael?
Denver will start winning football games when they treat Russ like Seattle treated Russ. Because Russ is not playing well enough to be the cooker that he is. And Nick Bosa is going to get home on him on this weekend. I will confidently play Cousins. He's not in prime time. He's at home. Like Austin brought up with the implied totals, it's going to be a shootout, or at the very least, the Vikings are going to put up plenty of touchdowns. That's coming through Cousins.
For every 1 interception Russell Wilson throws at home against the 49ers in his career, he throws 6 3/4 touchdowns. Smash Russell Wilson this week. He annihilates San Francisco when he plays them on his home turf. Annihilates them.
It's different turf this time, Joe.
It's different turf, but it's different turf. They're not in San Francisco. I don't care. He is the 49er killer when he plays them at home. I am confident in Wilson. Even a bad week 1, he still put up decent points. He threw for over 300. He had a touchdown pass. So, like, it wasn't the worst week. Last week was bad. I mean, last week was terrible. That was awful. He should have had way more points. But San Francisco does not know how to play against him. And it's the same coach. It's a lot of the same defensive players. He understands what San Francisco is going to do to stop him. And he knows how to beat that. Nathaniel Hackett should be fired. I completely agree on that standpoint. He should be gone. There's no way he should have a job anymore. I am still rolling with Russell Wilson. Not to say Kirk Cousins is a bad start. I like Russell Wilson more. He's the 49er killer, in my opinion. At home, in San Francisco, he's dog shit. He's really bad in San Francisco. But at home, he's very good against the 49ers. Easy one. Wentz or Cousins. Excuse me. Austin. I feel like this one's going to be pretty even across the board here.
I don't know. I feel like this one's a coin flip to me because I could see Cousins going off and I could see Wentz struggling against this Philadelphia secondary. I mean, he might get I think Wentz will do good enough for players like Curtis Samuel to be okay, but I think we're more likely to see Kirk Cousins go for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns than we are Carson Wentz this week. And so I probably would lean Cousins, but I could see someone making a case for Carson Wentz that would compel me to start him.
Axton.
Axton, you're muted.
He's muted. Axton.
There
we go.
I got it. I'm going Cousins. I think Wentz has had a great start this year, but I also think he's got his first real tough matchup this week, and I'd like to see him prove before I'm confident really throwing him in there over Kirk Cousins.
Michael.
Yep, it's Cousins for me. I mean, I think Cousins is – I'm starting to Cousins over a lot of quarterbacks this week, especially in this Detroit matchup. And like Axton said, Wentz hasn't really been tested yet, and I do want to see how he does against this Philadelphia defense.
There's the clean sweep I was talking about. Kirk Cousins, easy. Carson Wentz will struggle against Philly, 100%. The revenge game is now over, ladies and gentlemen. There's no more revenge for Carson Wentz. So, from G, Thielen, Greg Dortch, imagine that name being uttered in week 3, or Devin Duvernay for a flex start in a PPR. That is unbelievable. The names of Greg Dortch and Devin Duvernay are even mentioned in the same question as Adam Thielen, but that is what life has come to just 3 weeks into the season. Austin, I will start with you.
Oh, I think I would go Thielen for the floor and Dortch for the ceiling. I think, like we said, Adam Thielen is more likely to get a touchdown this week, but Dortch has been a target hog, and I am fine riding with him for another week. He's definitely going to make it in some DFS lineups.
Axton.
Yeah, last week was a little more encouraging for Adam Thielen. I'm expecting a much bigger week this week. Like Austin said, I think he's going to give you that safer floor. If you want to get a little ballsy, you can go Dortch maybe for a little bit higher ceiling. But personally, I'm going to play it safe. I'm picking Thielen here.
Michael?
Yeah, I'll take the points with Thielen as well. I just disparaged Thielen not too long ago on this very show, but I think that Greg Dortch is, I think he's a solid play, but his snaps did dip last week, which also coincided with Zach Ertz getting a little bit more healthy. So I think he'll still be a decent play, but Adam Thielen against Detroit, it's a good matchup. I don't want to pass it up.
Thielen's the guy. I think Duvernay has the highest ceiling, and that's just simply because he could rip off a 70-yard bomb for a touchdown. Whereas I don't think Dortch could do that. But New England plays the deep ball very well. They normally have a high safety back there, and Devin McCourty, the pro veteran that he is not going to let that happen. Thielen's the guy. The other guys, you're really hoping for them to be really scripted into the game plan. Thielen is always a part of the game plan. Dortch and Duvernay is kind of a week-to-week thing. You don't really know. And especially this week, I don't think Duvernay is a part of the game plan at all against New England. He'll get his share, but he's not enough to beat, go against Thielen. Czar, would you trade Waddle and Michael Thomas for Devonte Adams? I am a hard no because you have two really good receivers. Why would you get rid of two guys for one? Yes, Devonte Adams is the probably consensus wide receiver 2 behind Cooper Kupp at this point. The best receiver probably in football, but in fantasy football, probably the 2 behind Cooper Kupp just because it's ridiculous at this point. But I mean, someone tell me if you disagree, but I'm keeping the 2 really good guys over Devonte Adams.
Yeah, I don't. I agree 100%.
Clean sweep.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I didn't want to spend too much time on that because I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement on that one. It is so enticing to get the name Devonte Adams on your team, but Jalen Waddle and Michael Thomas, my worry with Michael Thomas was, is he going to be a bitch? Is he going to come back, moan and complain? No, dude had 2 touchdowns his first week back and he looked really good. Michael Thomas is here. He's playing. He's back. He's the possession receiver you want on your team. And also, I mean, at this point, you could, after Devonte Adams week 2, kind of feels like a lot for Devonte Adams at this point, depending on what that game plan is going to look like. Mr. Scampers is back, half PPR, Juju, or one of Mark Ingram or Zamir White. That is only if their lead backs are out. So that would be Josh Jacobs or Alvin Kamara. Would you start either of their backups in Mark Ingram or Zamir White over Juju Smith-Schuster? Austin.
Yeah, I would go Juju Smith-Schuster on this one. Zamir White, we need to see it from. And the New Orleans run game has not looked good this year, particularly with Kamara out of the lineup. So I am not trusting any running back unless it's Kamara.
Okay. Axton.
Yeah, I'm going Juju as well. Like we were mentioning before, I think Juju's just got better games ahead. But that said, if you're really out on Juju and Alvin Kamara is playing this week, I really don't mind Mark Ingram. He did well last year filling in for Alvin Kamara. But consensus for me, I'm definitely going Juju over the latter 2.
Michael.
I'm chasing the touchdown between these 3 guys. Zamir White could fall in, Mark Ingram could fall in, but Juju's on the Chiefs, and that will probably get him the most chances to fall in. So I'll go Juju.
Everyone knows my stance on Juju Smith-Schuster.
I heard it before. I did.
I think he's bad, and he plays Kenny Moore. Yeah, I don't. The Saints' running game as a whole sucks unless it's the elite tight end of Taysom Hill taking the direct snap. So stupid he's listed as that. If Josh Jacobs is out, I like Zamir White because of how piss poor that Titans defense is. It is so bad. And I don't think there's ever going to be a point in the game where the Titans are up like 14 or even 17 points where the Raiders are going to have to run the ball less. I like Zamir White if Josh Jacobs sits. If not, gun to my head, I'm playing Juju Smith-Schuster because Mark Ingram is absolutely irrelevant in the passing game. So, gun to my head, it's Juju, but if Josh Jacobs is out, it is Zamir White. There you go. Elixirs. Start 2. Drake London, Gabe Davis, A-Rob, Boyd in a standard league. So, Elixir is one of our lone standard league players. We love Elixirs. He's always here every week. Austin, I have to imagine you're riding with your boy Drake London at least, and I hope.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit and debate between Drake London and A-Rob as my number 2 in this, but Drake London, he's just been getting fed, and Seattle does not scare me, so he's easy. He's got high touchdown upside. Apart from that, I'm going with Gabe Davis because Buffalo, I'm forgetting who are they playing right now, but I know that the matchup. Oh, yeah, in Miami. So there's a concern that Stephon Diggs draws a bit of coverage from Xavian Howard, which I don't think makes Stephon Diggs not a good play. Like, you're still starting him, but it also opens up opportunities for Gabe Davis as the number 2. Assuming he plays, if we could get a last minute injury change on that front, but I like Gabe Davis and Drake London on this. I don't feel like you really have a bad option. Like, all of these players to me are high touchdown upsides, so you can almost just pick your favorite 2. But for me, that's Davis and London.
Okay, Axton.
Yeah, I'm going London and Davis too. I just think that they're in a standard league. They're probably going to, in my opinion, give you better opportunities, better chances to find the end zone this week.
Okay, Michael.
Gabe Davis is a must start for me against Miami. I think that's going to be a very high scoring game. I want a piece of that. Drake London and A-Rob right now is debating in my head probably more than it should. Especially in a standard league. If this was PPR, I think I'd happily go Drake London. I think the Rams light up the Cardinals. I really do. So I'm going to go with my gut, and I think he gets at least in the end zone, grab a couple catches on top of that for A-Rob.
Yeah, it's tough. In a standard, you're probably chasing touchdowns, and I think your best touchdown options are Davis and Allen Robinson. I want to say Drake London really badly because I like Drake London a lot this week. I'm gonna go Davis and London, but basically all except Tyler Boyd, you're pretty much chilling right now. And for those worried starting Stephon Diggs against Miami, because Xavian Howard is such a good defensive back. He scored a freaking touchdown in every game against Miami except one, and the one that he didn't, he had 7 catches for over 70 yards.
Yeah, I'm just saying he might not get 3 touchdowns.
Well, he's not going to get 3 touchdowns.
And that it will open up more opportunities for Gabe Davis.
Listen, no one wants to talk about the 3 touchdown game, okay? It hurt a lot of us, especially me. It hurt a lot of us. Xavier Howard is so wildly overrated. It's ridiculous. Everyone's like, oh, we played so well in week 1. Yeah, that's because he played against Devonte Parker, who he was playing against in practice for 6 fucking years. That's why people think he's good. Because, oh my God, he played against Devonte Parker. Yeah, that's what he's been covering in practice every single year. That's why he sucks. Because he's never had a true wide receiver 1 to actually cover in practice. Rashad Bateman toasted him on that slant route. Absolutely destroyed him. And all he needed was 4 catches to make his day. Stephon Diggs will have a good week. But yeah, Gabe Davis on the opposite side should, again, fingers crossed, probably finds a deep ball touchdown, would be the assumption of most people here. Okay, we're getting down to the wire. Might have to go fast fire, but we won't do it just yet. From Rendon, start 2, sit 1. DJ Moore, Alvin Kamara, Curtis Samuel. Let's go on the assumption Alvin Kamara plays, because obviously if he doesn't, this question answers itself. So DJ Moore, Alvin Kamara, Curtis Samuel, Austin.
Alvin Kamara, Curtis Samuel. Carolina's offense is just
doggy.
I don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Unless it's McCaffrey.
Yeah. Axton. Oh no, Axton.
Agree on comparison.
Oh, who'd you say? Your
you hear me
internet
now?
went. Your internet went poo poo. Yes, we hear you now.
Kamara to Samuel.
Okay, boom. Michael.
Yep, I could rinse repeat what Austin said, but I'll save the time and just say yeah. Kamara.
I am the only DJ Moore believer of this.
Oh,
group.
I'm a believer.
I
just hate
believe
the
in
matchup.
DJ Moore.
guys.
It's just
Guys, it's painful to be the only one that likes DJ Moore on this panel right now. Let me tell you. I am DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel. Alvin Kamara burned me way too much last year. Okay, Alvin Kamara, the main reason I sat in a diner and ate pancakes. Okay, because Alvin Kamara was a bitch last year. He was so overhyped, so overrated. Did 3 of my top 6 picks get injured? Yes. Did Alvin Kamara underperform in so many games? Also, yes. It's ridiculous. I don't like Alvin Kamara. I think he's a one-dimensional back at this point. 100%.
what?
This is blasphemy.
This is
right now.
It's not blasphemy. Watch him play. He's a one-dimensional back. In open space, he's ridiculous. Outside of the tackles, he's ridiculous. In between the tackles, I think Alvin Kamara is an average running back at best in between the tackles. He's so good in open space. That's what overshadows everything. He's so good in open space. In between the tackles is a whole different story for that guy.
He's got a quarterback with like broken ribs right now that I don't know if he's going to be airing it out as much. Just dump down city potentially for Kamara. And as you said, in open space, I like those touches. I like what someone can do in open space.
Yeah.
It's never been dumped down city with Jameis Winston. Never.
Okay. Also, New Orleans Saints given up the 3rd fewest points to receivers through 2 weeks. They've averaged 25 points to opposing receivers. DJ Moore is not getting all 25 of those points.
DJ Moore has scored 33% of his career touchdowns against the New Orleans Saints.
Oh
He
God.
owns that team.
Was it at home or away?
It was split. He has 3 in the dome, 2 at home.
Okay.
We all talk about how DJ Moore can't score. This is the team he scores against.
At least we know he won't get in a fight with Marshawn Lattimore.
Exactly. We all know after Marshawn Lattimore has a big baller game, he sucks the next week. He has those fluctuating weeks. It's at home for Carolina. I'm not saying Carolina wins this damn game because Carolina's really bad. Matt Rule is a terrible head coach. But I am rolling DJ Moore. I am the DJ Moore believer, and I will stand by DJ Moore's side until someone finally realizes how good this guy is. At least a coach. I need a coach and a quarterback to realize how good this guy is because it's unbelievable that Robbie Anderson is getting looks over DJ Moore. Oh, makes me so angry. Okay. We're going to do a little rapid fire here because we are down to the end and we have like 7 questions, which thank you guys for bringing in all these questions. All right, Albert, loyal follower. Pick 2, Rashad Bateman. There are so many Juju questions this week. Garrett Wilson in a full PPR. So essentially, who are you benching of the 3, Austin?
I'm benching Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Axton?
Ooh, that's tough. For me, I think it's between Bateman and Wilson. Surprisingly enough. Bateman's just not getting as many looks as I'd like. He's got, almost 80 or 90% of his points have come off those 2 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson's looking really great and getting a lot of looks. I'm going to sit Bateman.
Michael?
I really don't like the New England matchup, but I can't bring myself to bench Bateman. He's too good of a player. And this is where I'll appease you, and I'll bench Juju.
Oh, my guy. I love the New England matchup.
Do you?
Dude, if he sees Jalen Mills for a play, are you kidding me?
It's just how many of them are passing plays. I mean,
that's fine. Jonathan Jones has the speed to keep up with him. So that's the only part that maybe scares me if he's matched up on Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones is a way up and down player. There's one play he looks like Jesus, and the next play he looks like one of the goats that he was the shepherd of. I'm not very religious. You can very much tell by that sentence. Yeah, I'm benching Juju. Obviously, go ahead.
Jonathan Jones went to my high school.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
So it's
Go
a scouting
Pats.
report. Yeah.
Yeah, what's the scouting? Did you watch him?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm benching Juju here. I like Garrett Wilson. And Axton brings up a good point. Bateman is collecting a lot of his points on one play. But again, all he needs is one play against Jalen Mills, and there's no shot Jalen Mills is keeping up with him. So I like Bateman a lot this week, so I'll bench Juju. One more from Rendon. Dawson Knox or Logan Thomas? Austin.
Logan Thomas, just copy and paste everything I said for Curtis Samuel earlier. To me, same logic applies, even though Thomas is used obviously differently.
Okay. Axton?
Yeah, Logan Thomas is definitely the safer play here.
Michael?
Safe doesn't win championships. Dawson Knox, Miami defense can't stop a single. Dawson Knox, the Miami defense can't stop a leaf blown in the wind. So I'll take Dawson Knox.
Yeah, I'm also on the Dawson Knox train. We talk about that game being high scoring. Dawson Knox is going to be a part of that. Leaving the race, most interesting name I've heard. Joe Mixon for Terrelon Burks and Austin Eckler. No, for Joe Mixon for Treylon Burks and Austin Eckler. Austin, just give me a yes or no here.
Yes to the Burks Eckler side.
Axton.
Agree.
Yes
Michael?
to the Burke side.
Yeah, I'll go yes to the Burks side against my will. I like Austin Eckler. I think I'll get better. Motherfucker dice dealer. My favorite name that we have in here. David Montgomery or Zeke in a standard scoring. Austin.
I'm going David Montgomery. He averaged 8 yards a carry against Green Bay last week, and Houston's given up the 6th most points to running backs.
Okay. Axton.
Yeah, David Montgomery's looking really good lately, and Zeke just flat out hasn't. I like them. I like Montgomery's ability to get into the end zone, and he's kind of the most reliable thing this offense really has. So I'm going Montgomery.
Michael.
Both these guys have backups that are better than them, but I'll take David Montgomery.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to do the math where Khalil Herbert is better than David Montgomery. Tony Pollard, fine. I'll give you the argument there. I remember when everyone's like, "Oh, Khalil Herbert, he's the better running back in Chicago."
I say that's more of an indictment on Montgomery than a big push on Khalil.
David Montgomery has the most forced missed tackles since entering the NFL. He is literally the shiftiest. In his senior year of college, he had over 100 forced missed tackles. Last year, he was the most effective running back behind the line of scrimmage. He averaged 2.6 missed tackles behind the line of scrimmage because that's how bad his offensive line was, and he was still an RB2. David Montgomery is a top 15 running back in the NFL. He catches, he runs through you and around you, makes you look dumb. He is the only bright spot on this team not named Darnell Mooney. David Montgomery, light years ahead of Khalil Herbert. And I'm not saying Herbert's bad, but it is not even close, the comparison between the two of them.
I'm not even going to rebut because we got a couple more questions I want to get to before the hour, but that is he will not run around you, Joe. He's the man runs in molasses for me still, and he doesn't have the breakaway speed that I want from my lead back.
Neither does Khalil Herbert.
Oh, sure. I think it's just very comparable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll take 124 yards on 8 yards per carry. That's sitting nice with me.
What did you do in week 1?
Okay, San Francisco actually is a good defense.
Against San Francisco in the rain, my man.
Yeah.
That is fair. Fair.
That was a Dante Pettis revenge game, you idiot. God. Motherfucker brings up bright spot. Mooney, 1 catch for -5. Yeah. Again, Darnell Mooney's like the only good pass catcher on the team, which is the sad part about this state. Okay, answer this question. I'm dying.
Okay, sitting Chase Edmonds this week. Options: Melvin Gordon, J.D. McKissic. Oof. I would still go with Chase Edmonds because they're going to be playing from behind, and there's no way they don't pass the ball to him again.
It's a standard too, though.
Oh shoot. Okay.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
why
what?
I'm kind of
Standard.
leaning Melvin Gordon.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Yep. Thank you for reminding me of that. Would
Yeah.
go Melvin Gordon then. He's got the touchdown upside.
Axton.
It's between Chase Edmonds and Melvin Gordon for me. I like the touchdown upside with Melvin Gordon, but I do think that Edmonds has better games coming. I think this week I'm probably tempering those expectations and going with Melvin Gordon.
Michael.
It's a tough group to be non-PPR. If you flip this and make it PPR, it's a pretty solid group. I'll go Melvin Gordon. They give him the red zone touches. It's annoying, but they do.
I think we all agree Edmonds probably touches the ball more than Gordon, but by far Gordon has a much higher touchdown upside, and what they're going to do on the ground is probably fairly comparable to each other. So the extra 15 yards through the air that Chase Edmonds might get over Melvin Gordon is probably going to be irrelevant because, again, the PPR points don't matter. Okay, here we go, flying through. Chris Henderson Jr. I've never heard anyone put Jr. in the question after, or Rashad Penny. Austin.
I'll go Henderson.
Axton
as well.
Michael.
Henderson,
clean sweep. Gets 12-team, 3-quarter PPR. That is the first time I've ever seen that. 2 running back, 3 receiver, 1 flex. He has Saquon, Monty, J.D. McKissick, Kenneth Walker. Receivers are Kupp, A.J. Brown, Godwin, Bateman, Drake London, Jacoby Myers, Jahan Dotson. Congratulations on your championship. Do you trade Drake London for A.J. Dillon?
No.
Yeah, no, right?
No.
I turn around. I try to offer Jacoby Myers for A.J. Dillon, but I wouldn't trade Drake London for him.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Because again, like you're starting Saquon and Monty every week.
Yep.
Unless Kenneth Walker becomes the de facto 1 in Seattle. I wouldn't. Yeah.
I would let the weekend pass and let Jacoby Myers have a big game and A.J. Dillon struggle against Tampa Bay and then send that offer.
That's fair. Or if Dotson blows up, trade Dotson. Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, Jacoby Myers looks really good. He was also saying he declined Myers for him, was thinking offering Bateman. His RB3 isn't the best, obviously. Yes, we know your RB3 is not great with either McKissick or Kenneth Walker, excuse me. So I'm thinking he wants that better RB3 just for the option if Saquon or Monty does not have a good matchup. I think all of us across the board are saying, dude, it don't even matter because Cooper Kupp's going to make up whatever points that they don't pick up. A.J. Brown looks really good in his off. Like, you literally don't have a bad receiver on your roster. You could interchange any of them at any time. So don't oversay. Don't give him a really good player in London for a guy in A.J. Dillon who, yes, has the touchdown upside, but he's still the backup. He's still the backup to Aaron Jones, who is the number 1 option in that offense. I mean, heck, you have a guy where if their RB1 goes down, Kenneth Walker's the immediate RB1 if Rashad Penny, who has injury history, goes down. Stay put. You have a really good roster. Do not like press the panic button right now. You're sitting off really good. All right. Leaving the race is going to end us with 3 easy, quick questions. Bateman or Juju? Austin.
Bateman.
Axton.
I know earlier I said I'd set Bateman in a trio of players we had, but I think I'm playing Juju here.
Okay. Michael?
Bateman
here. DJ Moore or Brandon Ayuk? Well, I know no DJ Moore believers here exist. So, Austin.
Problem is they both have a tough matchup because as good as New Orleans has been against fantasy receivers, San Francisco's been the best against, Denver's been the best against. I'm mixing all the stats up. Whatever. Point being, I'm going DJ Moore.
Oh, we love to hear that. Axton.
DJ Moore for me.
Michael.
Don't call me a non-DJ Moore believer, but I'm gonna play Ayuk.
Ayuk's upside is definitely better if Patrick Surtain sits.
That's a huge deal.
That is
That's
would be
yeah. That's That's the big if. I'll still ride DJ Moore. I'm more on the Deebo Samuel train of the receivers, and especially
for sure.
look at last year. Jimmy Garoppolo, who'd he favor? Deebo Samuel, wasn't even close. So, and also Ross Dwelley is getting more looks than Brandon Ayuk at this point with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. We know Jimmy loves his tight ends and he loves his wide receiver one and Deebo. So I'm going DJ Moore. And we just had one more come in after this one, Rashad Bateman. And there are so many Williams in this world. I am going to guess Javonte Williams for AJ Brown. That is my guess. Because that
guess
to
Mike
me
Williams.
seems...
I was going to guess Mike Williams.
I was going to guess Jameson Williams was my first guess.
That's what I was kind of going for.
Okay, it is Mike
Mike.
Williams. It is officially
okay.
Mike Williams. I was like, who feels the most fair? Jameson Williams doesn't really feel fair. Javonte does. So does Mike Williams. So Mike Williams and Rashad Bateman for AJ Brown. I'm going to say no. Austin, this one's tough.
This one's tough. I'm going to say it depends on how you prefer to play fantasy. If you are in it for the ride and you're going to take the bad weeks and hit on the good weeks, I would keep Bateman and Williams. But if you like consistency, I'm going AJ Brown.
Axton.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm sticking with AJ Brown, but again, with pretty much just echoing Austin here.
Michael?
Yeah, you put it really well there, Austin. I love all these pieces, but I'll go Bateman and Williams.
I like the two guys for Bateman and Williams instead of just AJ Brown. Again, just gives you more options, in my opinion. And then the last one from Loaf. It is flex. Chris Olave, Sterling Shepard, Noah Brown. So, Austin.
I'm going Olave.
Axton.
I agree. I'm going to Olave.
Michael.
Olave is like a yard away from a 60-yard catch every week. I think he can get it done this time.
Yeah, Olave intrigues me. If you want safe, I think Sterling Shepard weirdly is the safest play. But Olave, of all of them, has the highest touchdown upside. Noah Brown's irrelevant. I'm sorry. Noah Brown's just irrelevant. So, Chris, poor Noah Brown. Poor great value CD Lamb. Because literally, helmets on with no numbers, they look the exact same. With the hair coming out of the helmet, it's very, very tough to tell them. Chris Olave is the guy there. Okay. That is everything. Gentlemen, thank you for joining. We appreciate you guys. Hope you guys had fun.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
I had some fun. Yeah, some.
Some is better than none. That's good. That's good. There's
Except
a lot
for-
of fans this year that have not had any fun.
Steeler fan, so yeah, no, it hasn't been fun at all. But
No, you had one win.
I couldn't even enjoy that. It's just you can't enjoy watching them. You really can't. Especially TJ Watt was out. We lost TJ Watt in that game, so I didn't even enjoy that.
Yeah, they're bad. I'm just trying to make you feel better, man. I'm just
No,
trying to
I
make you feel better.
appreciate it. You're a nice guy, Joe. You're a nice guy.
Oh.
You beat us last week. We gave you guys a win.
I mean, was it hard?
No, it's not.
No, it's not very difficult to beat the Steelers. No offense. But
No, none taken. No.
Yeah. Gentlemen, appreciate all you guys joining us here. For Austin, at Austin_FFL, Axton, at Harding_Trace for our Spanish speakers. That's 3 for our English speakers who did not pass Spanish 1. Michael Sicoli, at Michael_Sicoli, Sicoli. Myself, at Joe_Zollo. Yes, it says at Bismarck Larks because that's the team I work for. So if you want to follow them, God, that would be amazing. Help me hit my goals. That would be incredible. Always remember, everyone, defense wins championships. Offense wins fantasy football. Starts a different day, is back. Same time, same place next week. Thank you all for joining us this week, and we will see you next week.